Hey everyone, do you guys remember me crashing out like months ago? I think it was like March or even April about this book. Well, guess what? If you thought one book was bad enough, she's come out with a second one, and I'm here to yap about it because I got a lot to say, and yeah, I want to just remind people why the fuck I crashed out about Firebird and why I'm about to crash out this weekend on Bloodsinger. Yes, I will be pulling an all-nighter this weekend. I don't know why I do this to myself, but yeah, stay tuned for that vlog. But yeah, let's get into why this author bothers me so much and why I do truly think she's problematic and why these books are harmful. So back in, I said like February, March, I crashed the fuck out over this book because of how harmful the author was. Not only was she being racist, she was really leaning into the Roma stereotypes, and not only that, she was conflating both the Romani people and the Romanians as like one ethnic group, not to mention she was romanticizing a master-slave relationship, and she's deciding to publish the second one. On top of it all, to wrap it up in a nice pretty bow, her writing is just shit poor, and I know for a fact this woman got at least 6 figures into publishing this, and everyone is eating this up and being like, oh my god, this is so great. The amount of videos that came out on Book Talk of people holding this book up and being like, this book was amazing, it was so hot, it was so sexy, I loved it, it was everything and more. I'm like, whoa, you need to check yourself, because were we reading the same thing? So yeah, like I said, let's get into it. Okay, let's recap of the first book. The first book follows our main character, Melina Bahari, and keep that last name in the back of your mind because we're going to do a full circle back to it. She is physically described as someone with dark skin, dark eyes, dark hair. Also keep that in the back of your mind because we're going to be circling back to it. She is Dacian, which for those who don't know is the ancient people of the nowadays Romanians, right? She is considered Romanian, and the author kept, and I'll read the author's note in a minute, but she kept saying like, oh, she doesn't know the Dacian language, so they speak Romanian language in here, but she's Dacian, so just, okay. And it's about her and her family. It starts off with her and her family performing. A bunch of the Roman soldiers come in, they're watching, mind you, she's underage at this point, but that's where she first meets her love interest, who is like, he's in his 20s, okay? He's an adult, and they make this like weird connection. Years later, her family ended up getting like attacked by the Romans. She watched her family murdered, her sister getting captured, and she ended up being by herself. She ends up then joining a bunch of, I don't even remember which group she ended up joining to help fight against the Romans, but I think it was the Celts. I think it was the Celts that she would like join up, and she became like their witch, okay? She has magical powers to essentially be able to like control people's emotions and like feelings. She's got magic powers that she's able to use to control stuff, right? And so she was ended up coined as the pagan witch. And so her and the army that she ended up like fighting for ended up getting like slaughtered by the Romans, and she meets her the guy that watched her when she was a kid in a weird fucking creepy way, the general, and he's like, oh, I remember you. And so he ends up capturing her and turning her into a slave, and then that story is the romance between the two. I say romance, but essentially we find out that the Roman general, who turned her into a slave, by the way, hates the emperor and is secretly fighting back and trying to kill him and destroy the throne. That is the gist of the first book. Okay. Now the second book is about Melina's sister Layla, who also, mind you, was captured by the Romans, and it is her story and her love story between the general's best friend, so like the lieutenant. So that's their story. I'm going to read the author notes from both of the books, and then you tell me what you think. So for the first book, The Firebird, author's note: the cold yet brutal civilization of ancient Rome served as inspiration for this fantasy world. However, it is meant to be a reimagining of the Roman Empire, not one of historical accuracy. I use creative license frequently to serve the story we could tell. One example is that Melina Bahari, and her family are from the ancient territory of Dacia, which is modern-day Romania. However, in the book they speak Romanian, not Dacian. This is because Dacian is an extinct language and was not recorded. I chose to use the language of the people who live there today. I've also reinvented some of the gods, goddesses, and mythology of Rome. In this world, pure-blood Romans share ancestry with ancient titans, dragons, and the gods themselves. Their power is divine, like the historical Rome. They use their power and strength to conquer and burn and enslave. And as history proves, there will always be rebellion and revolution in the face of oppression and tyranny. Just stay with me, guys. I'm getting to a point. Okay, book 2, author's note. The Roman Empire was used as inspiration for this fantasy world. It is not meant to be, nor is it historically accurate. In many instances, I've used creative license in the reimagining of this fictional world. One example is that the Dacian language, Lila's native language, is extinct. According to scholars, Romanians descended from Dacians and Daco-Romans, and Dacia was located in what is now modern-day Romania. Therefore, I've used the Romanian language in lieu of the Dacian for a scene depicting the main character, Layla, speaking what would have been her own language. Another instance is that the Visigoths are historically known as Germanic people united under one king living within the Roman Empire. However, I've altered some of their origins, not all of them Germanic, only to serve the story of a wider people uniting against the evil of Rome. Like Firebird, Bloodsinger is a dark fantasy set in a brutal world ruled by a cruel tyrant. It is a story about female empowerment and the courage to rise up against the oppressors to fight for their freedom. Please be advised that Bloodsinger is a fantasy with some dark themes, including elements of master slave slave relationships, attempted sexual assault, and dubious consent, none of which is between the MCs. There's also a scene with self-injury. Readers who may be sensitive to these elements, please take note. Okay, stick with me, you guys, because I'm telling you I have a point. So in both of these authors' notes, it's clearly stated that the characters are Dacian or modern day Romanians, right? Now, I want to discuss, and I've got my phone up here with the receipts, I want to talk about the differences between the Romani people, or the Romas, and the Romanian people, right? Because again, I'm telling you, this woman does not know the difference between the two, or if she does, she's just being completely ignorant and racist about it. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why I have such a huge issue with this, because once again, she's conflating these two very different group of people into one. So let's overview the Romani people. The Romani people, often called Romas, are an Indo-Aryan ethnic group which origins in northwestern India. They migrated to Europe starting around the 11th century. Their language is part of the Indo-Aryan family, related to languages spoken in northern India, such as Hindi and Punjabi. Romani is not related to Romanians. The identity. The Romani people have a distinct history and culture based on the traveling lifestyle. Their identity is not tied to a single national territory. The etymology of the name Romani, is believed to derive from the Sanskrit word doma, which refers to a caste of musicians and entertainers in India. Okay, let's overview the Romanians. The origin. Romanians are an ethnic group native to Romania. Their ancestry traces back to the ancient Dacians and Romans. The Romanian language is a Romance language, meaning it is evolved from Latin, the language of the Roman Empire. It is related to Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. The identity of the Romanian people is based on their association with the country of Romania, which was formed from the ancient Roman province of Dacia. The etymology of Romanians is derived from the Latin word Romanus, meaning citizens of Rome. Okay, so the main character's last name is Vahari, or Vahari, and I was like, okay, what is the origin of that name? Because that does not sound Romanian to me. So I looked it up, and Vahari last name originates from Demanim, indicating someone from the state of Bihar in India, or from the Hindi word Vahari. Its deeper roots trace to the Sanskrit word Vahari, meaning one who roams about for pleasure or beautiful. The name essentially means belonging to Vahar. Remember I said the etymology of Romani is believed to derive from the Sanskrit word doma, which refers to a caste of musicians and entertainers in India? Again, do you see where I'm going with this? This character, and I'm assuming her sister as well because they're blood related, they are described as someone with dark skin, dark hair, dark eyes. They're travelers, they're performers, and their last name is originated from India. And which group of people originated from India? The Romani people. So when you pull this shit up and you're writing a character that describes A, but then you're saying, no, they're B, then that either means you're willfully ignorant, you didn't do your research, you're either being a racist and you just don't care. So that is one of the biggest gripe that I had with this book, because again, she is conflating these two very different groups of people into one. And she didn't do enough research to discover that actually that's not it. Because again, like moving on. Okay, but putting aside how blatantly racist these books are, I just want to talk about the writing of this book. With the amount of marketing that went into this book, I'm telling you, there's no way this author didn't see 6 figures in her bank account. Let's read the first sentence of the first chapter of the second book. Masculine laughter rumbled up to the domed ceiling of the great hall. What does that mean? Mind you, that was just the first sentence of the first chapter. I'm not even going to flip through the other page. Okay, let's put that aside and talk about the weird romanticization within the fantasy community of white authors, especially white female authors, who romanticize this master-slave relationship. I don't understand that. And I will never be able to wrap my head around that, romanticizing that form of relationship of a master and their slave. Like, I don't give a fuck and a rat's ass if you're like, but it's consent. There is no consent when you're a master and a slave. Like, do you guys just think? You know what I mean? So I don't know what it is with white authors who are like, yes, this is so sexy. It's not sexy. Just because you describe him as also someone who's hot does not make it okay. Describing someone being very attractive, physically attractive, does not mean that the situation that they've put their counterpart or their love interest in it's going to be consensual. And I want to preface, this isn't even a story about BDSM, because I know that's like, there is that like dom and sub relationship, but I think they're just referred to as dom and sub and not master slave. I don't know, I don't do research on that, like, but like, it's not even in a kinky way. I also just find it so weird that there's so many authors out there that will, again, romanticize not just the master-slave relationship, but like writing stories of like the Jewish girl falling in love with the Nazi boy. It's like writing a love story between a Israeli IDF soldier and a Palestinian woman. It's like writing a romance between a white man who's a slave owner and a black woman who's the slave. You know where I'm getting at? Like, it's just fucking weird, and that's exactly what this is. Mind you, again, this is a POC character written by a white woman, and the first book was the entirety of the main character, who was, again, POC. She's described as a Romani, being very much in love with this white man, this colonizer. And I don't care if he redeemed himself by killing the emperor at the end and like freeing a bunch of people and pissing off into the wind with her and like, you know, confessing his undying love for her. It's just weird. It's weird. And I find that the people who do this kind of trope, I don't even want to call it trope, but this kind of writing these kind of books tend to always be white fucking authors. And I just think, again, it's weird and it's concerning and it's, check yourself. Also, I would love to point out that the covers of these books are so shit that it makes me go, either this author really found someone who hated her books and did this, or it's AI. And I'm genuinely thinking that this is an AI cover, so unless the author comes out and states that she had someone actually make these, like actually sit down and take their time into making these, I'm just gonna assume that this is AI, because there's absolutely no way. Like, what is this? What is with her hands, right? What is with her face? Like, it's just giving AI, and you know how I feel about that. So if that wasn't enough to convince you not to pick up any of these books, I will be making a all-nighter vlog for Bloodsinger, because I hate myself and I love you guys, and I know you guys find that shit hilarious. So yeah, tune in for that. I don't know when I'll post that, but yeah, I'll be doing it this weekend. Check out my TikTok, because I'll be posting more updates over there than I am on my YouTube channel. With that being said, I'm gonna go, because I need to mentally prepare myself for this upcoming all-nighter vlog I'm gonna pull for this. But yeah, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one. And as always, be kind to yourselves, stay hydrated, and free Palestine. Bye.